Hi there and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we are going to get into episode 3 of volume 8 of my Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac scrapbooks. As you know, we are continuing with the second volume of Wild Heart era because I just had so much Wild Heart stuff. And kind of hard for me to start on this video knowing what I ended up with on the last video. And again, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you didn't see it, go back and watch it because there's two really cool photos. These were kind of new acquisitions. I try not to use big words like I think I'm smart or fancy, but I always second guess myself when I use words, but pretty sure that's the right way. Really cool articles. I love stuff like this, ads and articles from magazines, from far away or not in my state, being California or Oregon. These are from, I believe, this one is Cleveland. So I'm going to guess that this is Cleveland as well. But this was a place called Recordland, which was probably their version of Tower Records, although they probably had a Tower Records as well. But it's just so cool to see an old ad from when Wild Heart was on sale. And, magazines and such like that used to run such prominent ads and stuff like that for records when they were being released. And of course, Stevie Nicks was a big, seller and popular person. So the ads just seemed more prevalent with her. But I see things now, and it's like, because we're on the internet, like Cardi B and even Buckingham Nicks or something like that is a perfect example. There's plenty of advertising online and stuff like that, but nothing really sees much media print or anything. And I just like looking back and seeing things like this. This was also out of one of those kind of old magazines, like, probably the Columbia Records or something like that, where you buy 5 records for a penny or and owe them till the day you die. Cool little clipping. I don't know what this is from. Wild Heart herself, Stevie Nicks, sans Fleetwood Mac, wowed the crowd and she'll wow you when you see her on Showtime's 6-hour Us Festival special. It will run each month beginning August 19th through February 84, I guess, in 90-minute segments. So you get to watch Us over and over again. So I'm going to guess that was something out of like, HBO or Cinemax or Showtime, one of those kind of magazines. And then this really cool article down at the bottom, again, was from the Good Times Cleveland. And it was talking about Wild Heart having just come out. Yeah, and her going on tour. So that's what this article is about. Then continuing on with some of these articles, this was from the Plain Dealer, which again, I think is in Cleveland. And this is Sunday, July 24th, 1983. So there is this one here, this whole article, which came with this picture, I believe. And then this was another review from Scene magazine, July 1st, Scene July/August 1983. And this is Stevie Nicks with Warren Zevon. And then the old, tickets on sale, Ticketmaster, Ticketron. A couple of videos ago, I mentioned when I did the Buckingham Nicks thing. Today is, I think I'm showing you this on the 7th or 8th of October, but I went and saw Stevie Nicks in Portland on the 1st of October. Pardon me. And, the ticket prices were just, I need to do a whole video on this alone, but because we don't have tickets anymore, nobody knows what the face value is of a ticket. Ticketmaster will say, oh, this is a standard admission or something like that. It's all bullcrap. There's just nobody knows. And I really think that part of the reason is because we don't have tickets anymore. There's nothing that shows you. I think they make it up as they go along. And I also think they make it up as they go along because tickets that were going for $1,200, $1,195, $1,195, I was there about 5 or 6 hours before showtime. I just watched them go down and down and down and down, which would indicate that that is not the going rate. That probably the face value is still probably around the 200 and something value, which is still a lot of money. But I was paying $200 a ticket for Stevie in 2007, 2008, maybe a little bit before then. And I think that that's about, what it should be. $200 is still a lot of money. Don't misunderstand. But this $1,100 and $1,200 for tickets is just ridiculous. And I don't know how they're getting away with it. And when you think that this is only, this is about 30, 40 years old, but $11 for lawn compared to, up in the VF Egypt seats they still want $100 and some odd dollars. It's really ridiculous what prices are for concerts. And I'm not screaming and yelling about it like an old woman saying, get off my lawn. But, being an avid concert goer and somebody who used to and would love to still be able to go and see Stevie Nicks in multiple states and cities like I used to, it's just becoming, absolutely impossible to do. I'm fortunate to get to see her once. I'm really hoping that if she does do a new album in 2026 and tour, that maybe I'll be a little bit more in a better place and able to do that. But again, just with those ticket prices, even when they come right on sale, as you all know, when they're saying that, somebody else that I know had spent like $800 for a second row, which, is really technically a good price for second row just because she was able to get that right away. But is that the price of the ticket? I don't think so. I think that probably a seat to the left or to the right of her, if you had waited till day of or, into the right when showtime was starting, probably went down to about $200. And just somebody who would really covet and want those seats is instead beat out by a Ticketmaster who, is their own scalper, or people that do buy things like that to scalp. And it just, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox, but it's so frustrating. It's really frustrating to see, especially when tickets were as cheap as they were back then. Anyway, enough of my complaining. Why is this like this? Hold on here. Oh, I have a surprise to show you. But something looks funky about this page. So this looks like a page that I was probably dismantling, and indeed it is. So this is wrong because this is, as you can see, the back of something on the other side. So I don't know what was here, but it didn't go or it was wrong. So I took it off and I need to redo it. But again, you talk about, we had seen one similar to this at the very beginning of this volume, but it had different dates on the bottom. But it was, I love this Stevie Nicks Give You Her Heart. I love these advertisements. And this is a really cool little snippet from Rolling Stone. And this is again when Stevie Nicks on Love, Duty, and Divorce. Now, this is definitely different. Don't ask me about my marriage, Stevie Nicks told an interviewer at the end of May. It's a new and special thing. Ask me a year from now. Unfortunately, it won't wait that long. In August, Nicks filed for divorce from her husband, Kim Anderson, after a mere 8 months of wedlock. No reason has been given for the split, and Nicks has steadfastly refused to comment to reporters. But among those close to Nicks, it is widely believed that she married Anderson as much out of duty as out of love. Anderson, a born-again Christian, has been married to Nicks' best friend, Robin Anderson, to whom Nicks' latest LP, The Wild Heart, is dedicated. Robin contracted terminal leukemia in 1982 and died, but a week before her death, she gave birth to a healthy daughter. Wrong. Nicks is the girl's godmother, and friends of the singer believe that she married Anderson to create a stable home for the child, noting that she and Kim Anderson had never been romantically linked in the past. Nicks has not made any reference to the split on the tour. And then this is just a random picture of Stevie Nicks on stage with Tom Petty. See, the age of misinformation is not just in the media today. It's in print many, many years ago. Then this was something I remember going through Rolling Stone. Did I mention I'll go through any magazine? I don't care what it is. If it's in the 80s and Stevie could possibly be in there, or they review music, I'll go through it. And this is just a lucky find in Rolling Stone one time in the random notes. And Stevie was just at the entrance like that. I just remember finding it. And, the magazines are like $2 and $3 at the store, but I'm like, I bought it just for this one stupid little entry of Stevie. You would do the same thing. Similar to this shot, I think this goes with that because it's the same time. Then we have the back cover, or no, the insert inside of the Wild Heart album. And this is Sharon, Lori, Stevie, and Sandy Stewart. Another article from a magazine, not too sure which one, but just one of those 80s, And then this was something out of a book or something like that. I think I Xeroxed this out of a book from the library with a weird title. Fleetwood Mac's Bad B Movie wins an Oscar. Yeah, I don't know what the heck it has to do with that title, to be perfectly honest with you. It just gives you the standard, you know, Stevie Nicks used to be part of Fleetwood Mac, their first album, going into rumors, and then Stevie going into her solo career. Weird little article. So that was in this one, but on the back of this page, which is its own thing, again, if you saw my last video on those two amazing, not that I'm bragging or, you know, but I love them and I love sharing them with you, but this is yet another one. And this one, again, super special. What's that you say? They all special? Yes, they are. This one is one, let's see if I can tease you. This one is kind of a scene photo. This one has been out and about for a while. Looks like she's holding a lighter. But what you haven't seen probably is this one. And this is yet another one out of that scrapbook. Super freaking love this photo. And it's so funny because I bought this photo and then I've had this around for a while. And I'm like, oh my God, I think that these go together. But never seen before, not circulated whatsoever. So really, really pretty photo. So you got two in, you know, a couple days, which is kind of cool. There's still more. But yeah. One of my babies. It was so hard. I'm telling you guys, if I could possibly describe, or I wish I could. I mean, my memory is so vague. It's so strong, but so vague when I recall that photo album. And, you know, it was in Southern California. It was in, you know, in Hollywood, Los Angeles. And I lived in the Bay Area, and not being able to go back daily and like physically see it and pick out more and get them all was just murder. I'm so grateful for everything I got, and it's still a drop in the bucket to everything I would have gotten if I could. Of course, I would have bought the whole damn book if I could have. But I actually just wish that I had even copies or something to show you just of what everything was in there. I don't even know who has those kind of things anymore. Like I said, I had a friend, I guess, who was purchasing things with me at the same time, and she unloaded a lot of her stuff, and I've down the road been able to buy it back from people she had sold it to, because I didn't get it directly, but that's neither here nor there. And then there was a couple other people, one in Germany that we think was buying from him from this book, and she sold most of all her collection, and I didn't ever recognize anything on eBay having been from that. So I'm sure there's a couple other people, but I just wish I could see it again, just because we saw it in person. We were seeing it before anybody else did. And a lot of people who were buying it, because he wasn't online, people were just buying it blindly. We at least were able to go down there and just really look at it and kind of compare and see things. And I was so new into collecting photos and, you know, saying, oh my God, this matches this session or this or that. It's just it's freaking photos and unique and rare. And yeah, so I can't picture like, oh yeah, I saw this one and it went with this or that, or I just have no recollection like that. So anyway, I'm rambling too much in this video. I apologize. More Wild Heart stuff. I think a lot of these went together. This was a like a press kit photo, something out of a magazine or newspaper, I should say. And then a really cool 8x10 photo that I got at a kind of like a rock and roll, not a flea, like a record show, almost like a record show. It wasn't all records. It was just, you know, music and movie memorabilia and stuff. And I'm pretty sure this goes, it looks like she's wearing the same thing. It looks almost identical. But then this photo and then this one were bought as a set. And this is the little blurb on the back that I took off the back of this one. Photos are by David McGough, McGoughh, I think. And it's September 13th, 1983. Singer-songwriter Stevie Nicks performed this evening at Radio City Music Hall, New York City. Tonight was the second of two sold-out nights at Radio City. Stevie Nicks still performs with Fleetwood Mac, but her emerging solo career has taken her this year on an extensive American tour. Stevie Nicks made her solo debut in 1981 with the 3 million seller LP Belladonna, and her second, The Wild Heart. Sharing the spotlight with Stevie Nicks at Radio City was veteran Eagles soloist songwriter Joe Walsh. And then this was a photo that looked like it went as well. Just something I found. I think they're all from the same night. But that is just me. They really all look the same. And then, funny enough, I'm sure that this goes with this. And this was out of a magazine. And kind of as I was putting this page together, I'm like, I forgot about the article, but I knew I had this little magazine clipping that, again, I think is from that night. And this was interesting. This little note, and I remember this. I remember I've had this a while. Stevie fan gets nicked. Whenever Stevie Nicks performs in concert, her fans deluge her with presents from the front of the stage. At Radio City Music Hall shows on a recent tour, she got so many stuffed animals, flowers, letters, and other gifts that she should have had a shopping cart on stage with her. But during one number, when Stevie leaned over to shake hands with some fans, a girl in the front row pointed to one of Stevie's bracelets, which was about to fall off her arm. A grateful Nicks took off the bracelet and gave it to the girl. At that point, another fan grabbed the bracelet out of her hand. Stevie, who isn't shy about speaking her mind, started to yell at the thief to return it to the original recipient. She then went to the microphone and lectured 6,000 unsuspecting fans about how you shouldn't steal other people's jewelry. I would kill to hear that. It must be out there somewhere. I would just absolutely love to hear that. And oh my Jesus God, what a lucky fan. And I wonder if that fan still has that item. What an incredible, and I'd love to know what bracelet it was. Is anything we can see in the photos? Just how incredible would that have been? And this, I have had this for a long time because I remember it was in an unusual magazine. Wasn't a typical like Cream or Circus or any of those. And I was in a grocery store with my mom, and I saw this, and I just immediately just kind of started daydreaming about how fortunate that fan was and the instance, and was reading it to my mom and begged her basically for like a $4 or $5 magazine for this small little piece here. Just funny recollection, which has not ebbed whatsoever. And here I am, 40 years later, and I would still buy a $10, $15 magazine for a small little, yeah. At least it's not things that we just put in a jar, because we always going to go back to that, right? We just buy pins and keychains and stuff like that, just put in a jar. At least these get a nice little. On again to going back to, I think either my last volume or this one. It's hard to say. I don't remember. I think it's the last volume. But when I showed some of the envelopes received from Herbert Worthington, these were some of the letters inside, and this one was mine. So this is the letter that was inside that envelope that I showed you from, 18 to 19, I'm kidding, from, 1,000 years ago. And this was somebody else's letter, which is cool, with a little hand signed from Herbert Worthington. This one was to order the catalog, and this one was in response to many letters received requesting more photographs of Stevie. They made two beautiful 3-piece collector sets, and I don't know which ones those are, to be honest with you. These photographs were personally chosen by Stevie and myself for your enjoyment. They are among the most current and, in my opinion, some of the best. I would also like to thank you for your overwhelming response to our 1985 Stevie Nicks calendar. So this was obviously much later. Your letters of appreciation inspire me beyond my imagination, to the point where I have motivated all my energy towards new and exciting projects for you, Stevie's most devoted fans. We have recently finished editing the plates for my soon-to-be released book. I'm not going to go off on another tangent, I swear. But if I were to go off, it would be that we never got that book. It's constantly about the calendars and then the book. And then years later, I'm going to try really hard not to go too long. Years later, I met Herbert with my then friend who was buying the other stuff with me out of the scrapbook. And he was all hyped up to do another calendar. And that's when we got those ones in, I think, 2009 or something like that. It's like, where's the book? Where's the book? He had tons of photos. And he was really close with Chris. And I don't think really Stevie cared. I mean, obviously, he was her go-to photographer. I just don't understand why a book was never, it didn't have to have much written. Could have had an intro by him, an intro by Chris, an intro by Lori, Sharon, anybody, her father, her mother. Could have been real simple with just, so it didn't have to give any tell-all or any information, just photos. And it's just super disappointing. It could have been a small one, a small little coffee table book. It didn't have to be a big one. But, just every time I read that, it's so frustrating that never happened. And then, someday maybe I'll get onto another tangent about how supposedly there was a disc full of photos that was Herbert's. It was supposed to be a book, but that's drama and hearsay technically that I don't have any authority about. But that was the thing shortly after Herbert died, that supposedly somebody had a disc of photos. They were meant to be used as a book, and some people were going to go forth and try and make the book, but then chaos ensued and whatever. So another really cool, I wish, actually, did I put this in to a point? I would love to show this to you. So this was a mailer I got from Sorceress Enterprises. And I think I didn't, oh yeah. So I got this around the same time as I got the Herbert calendar stuff. And let me tell you what, and it came in a little envelope because it was folded like this. And holy Jesus, you think I wanted the stuff from the calendar? I wanted everything in this mailer. And what was funny is that in hindsight, a lot of it, as you can see, is kind of like airbrushed art stuff. But then they have the shawls, much like Margie. Now, I don't think Margie did these, but I mean, this came out in 1983 or something or so, and it was $50 for the White Winged Dove shawl and $40 for the Nightbird one. But what I will say is this damn shirt. I have never seen one of these shirts in person. I would have killed for the shirt. And I don't think that this is anything that was backed by Herbert at all. It says, "Dear friend, as a result of the successful solo career of Stevie Nicks, thousands of fans have requested a catalog of available Stevie merchandise. Therefore, Sorceress Enterprises brings you the special brochure of exclusive merchandise for fans of the wildest heart and rock and roll." And I really don't know anything about Ariel Desiree, who is in charge of it. She had posters, photo stills, which probably, if I were to read them and really think about it, I probably have all the photos, but you can see here. And then that was the posters, I guess. But yeah, that shirt being as a regular photo, and I'm sorry, that's stained and mucked up since the day I've had it. I mean, it's all kinds of, it's seen things. I mean, I carried it around with me. You think I carried around that envelope and stuff? I mean, I wanted all this stuff. And then this interview tape. Cassette tape is an incredible opportunity to get to know what makes the wildest heart tick. During this interview, Miss Nicks is extraordinarily candid about her life and career as a singer, poet, songwriter, with and without Fleetwood Mac. She discusses love, motivation, her passion for performing, and much, much more. Two-sided tape runs approximately 1 hour. I mean, what was that tape? I'm sure it's something that's out there, but please, if anybody knows or can, tell me more, I would love to know. I mean, even this stuff was really cute. I mean, comparatively, I totally wanted the shirt because it was a real picture of Stevie. But, I dug this stuff. But I've never seen any of this, ever. I've never known anybody who owned one. I've never seen one on eBay. And these were sweatshirts. And again, the Dove logo was $50 and the shawl logo was $40. I mean, that was very expensive then. I mean, very expensive. And which is why I never could have one. I mean, this shirt was $14. That was affordable. And not just because we were dirt ass poor, just it was pricey. I mean, concert shirts weren't going for that much. And then you had to have tax, and there was on the back of this one, I want to say there's like shipping and handling, and then there's like insurance fees, and there's just all sorts of crap that went with it. But a really neat piece of memorabilia, and from the history of Stevie, things being sold, and again, I've had this forever, so I kind of took apart that page to show you, but you get it. And then we have some really cool other pictures from Stand Back Outtake. This is a really neat photo, and again, I've had this since I can't even tell you. I'd love to see more of this. Those ones I showed you, the close-up, the real close-up of her, and like similar to the poster, that's from the same day. And then these are postcards. This is a postcard, this is a postcard, and this is a postcard. And that was just a cool little photo of Stevie signing something for some lucky person. And I think, again, this might go back to just by how Mick looks. This could be part of, again, if anyone falls or Mick's video. Hard to say. Anyway, I will end it. I'm sorry for going on for so long. I hope it was remotely worth it, but I will end it with this page here, which again, some really cute pictures. I got this one, I want to say, from Purple Moon, possibly. And then these have surfaced, which could also be part. A lot of this stuff, some of the stuff has come along the internet and such like that, which purportedly could be from that supposed disc of stuff, those Herberts. So when it comes to certain things, I can't tell who's printed them, who's, what they are, what, I would give credit where credit was due if they belonged, like honestly belonged to somebody. But again, as I've heard, that disc was, somebody had it who wasn't supposed to, or there's so much, and it's literally rumors. I have no, yay or nay about it. I have nothing, not good or bad, don't want to talk about anybody because it's not like that. It's not that kind of situation. It's just what I've heard. And I don't want to promote that. So I apologize. And I certainly don't want to come off as that. I'm interested just to know where the province of photos and what was going to be used in a book, but I'm not interested in all that, supposed drama that went along with it. So, but anyway, some cool photos. And then the last one is some really cute. This one actually, I think, goes back to that day. I think this is one I've shown before. I was going to show where Stevie did with Bob Welch at the whiskey, maybe. I think that's a copy of that. And then some photos. Waddy. I'm not sure who this is. This guy looks so familiar, but I can't place his name. And then this article of Stevie, this is her at Walter Berry's a writer for the Associated Press. Oh, Phoenix, Arizona. So I'm going to guess from a Phoenix paper of her performance in, I'm going to guess, Phoenix during the Wild Heart Tour. And a copy. So I did not mean for the video to go this long. I'm so sorry, but I hope you enjoyed that. And not only going off on a tangent, but then I forgot about that little brochure, and that was just something just so cool. And please, if anybody has that or seen it or has another one or got something from there, I would love, love, love to know about that. I mean, in all the years I've been collecting and people I've spoken to, granted, I haven't outright said, hey, did you ever buy anything from these people? But stuff that you usually see kind of pop up and again, on groups that I'm in or on eBay or something like that, I'd have expected to see something like that before, of which I never have. So thank you so much for coming and joining me again. And we have do we have another one of those really cool from that? No, all my pictures are cool. Come on. But I don't have anything really neat like that. Some of those ones I showed you, some of those from the scrapbook. I think those might be it for Wild Heart. And the next ones that come up are going to be for Rock a Little into Tango in the Night. So we will see. I surprise myself when I pull out the pages to go over with you. So thank you again for joining me. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next time. Bye.